Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're taking a truly fascinating journey into how your thoughts, well, they aren't just abstract ideas floating around in your head. They're more like the actual blueprints for your reality. We're going to zero in on how this fundamental truth specifically shapes your experiences with money, your physical health, and your career satisfaction, too.
It's a concept that I know initially sounds almost too simple, maybe even a bit, mystical. But as we'll unpack today, it holds profound, really tangible implications for every single aspect of your life. We're going to explore what it truly means to be a deliberate creator of your own life, moving beyond just, well, passive observation to active participation.
Yeah, taking the reins. Our insights today are drawn from a really foundational text in this field, Money and the Law of Attraction, Learning to Attract Wealth, Health, and Happiness. It's by Esther and Jerry Hicks, often known for channeling the teachings of Abraham. This book, published by Hay House, it really distills these universal principles that have helped, well, countless individuals transform their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And our mission today is to cut through any potential misconceptions, any noise, and give you a clear, actionable, and truly deep understanding of these universal laws. We really want to empower you so you can move from feeling kind of buffeted by life's currents, to confidently steering your own ship. What's truly fascinating here, I think, is how practical these seemingly abstract ideas can be when you apply them, consistently and consciously.
Exactly. So if you've ever found yourself wondering why some people seem to just effortlessly attract what they desire, while others struggle despite their best efforts, maybe you've even felt that struggle yourself at times, then you are absolutely in for some major aha moments today. Let's really unpack this and dive right into the core concepts. Okay, let's unpack the absolute bedrock of everything we're discussing today, the law of attraction. It's truly at the heart of this entire philosophy, isn't it? What exactly do Esther and Jerry Hicks mean when they state, with such conviction, you create your own reality? Because for many, that sounds like a very, very big claim.
It is a big claim, absolutely. But it's presented not as just a theory or wishful thinking, but as a consistent, immutable law of the universe. Think of it as being as dependable as gravity. At its essence, the law of attraction states that the essence of that which is like unto itself is drawn. Now, the radical implication here is that the universe isn't just responding to your wishes or even just your actions. It's responding to the vibration of your feelings and thoughts. Think of it like a constant, always-on magnet.
A magnet, yeah.
Yeah. Every component of your life, experience, your finances, your health, relationships, career satisfaction, it's all drawn to you by this powerful law of attraction's response. A response to the thoughts you think and, importantly, the story you tell about your life. The book emphasizes you are not merely an observer of your life, you are the attractor of your every experience. You actually came into this physical reality as a powerful creative genius, knowing this law would serve you well, and knowing that your primary act of creation happens through your thought, not necessarily through, strenuous physical action.
Okay, so if I'm fixating on a problem, maybe even trying desperately to solve it, like really digging in, am I actually attracting more of that problem? That feels incredibly counterintuitive for so many of us, right? We're sort of hardwired to identify and solve problems. It's like my very attempts to fix things could, well, inadvertently be making them worse.
Precisely. That's exactly the crux of it. The universe, or the law of attraction, it doesn't really understand no or don't want. It only understands focus, attention. So when you say, I do not want illness, your attention is still squarely on the subject of illness, vibrationally speaking. You're effectively inviting its essence. Similarly, if you're thinking, I want money, but it just won't come, your dominant focus, your feeling, is on the absence of money, which holds it away. So this raises an absolutely critical question. How do we even know what we're attracting?
Right.
This is where your emotional guidance system comes in.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, really. Every thought you offer has a vibrational frequency. Now, you can think of vibration not as like literal sound waves, but more like the energetic signature or the radio signal of your thoughts and feelings. It's a unique broadcast you're constantly sending out.
The broadcast.
Yes, and your emotions are your most powerful interpreters. They give you constant, real-time feedback about how your current thoughts align with your core vibrational state of well-being. Negative emotion means you're out of harmony with your inner being. That's essentially your broader, non-physical self, the part of you always connected to complete well-being. So that negative feeling, it indicates you're attracting something you don't want. Conversely, positive emotion indicates alignment and the attraction of what you do want. It's like an internal compass, always guiding you, a personal GPS telling you if you're headed towards what you desire or, well, away from it.
That makes so much sense. Using our emotions as a guidance system not just things to react to. And the book highlights another foundational concept here. Every subject is really two subjects. This seems like a critical piece for understanding how our thoughts work, especially when we're trying to shift our reality from, say, lack to abundance. Can you elaborate on this duality?
This is absolutely key to conscious creation. Couldn't be more important for every single subject, whether it's money, health, a relationship, a career opportunity, anything. There's always what you want and the lack of what you want, the absence of it. Now, the vast majority of people, quite understandably, they speak about what they want, but their dominant thought, and therefore their vibrational offering, is unconsciously focused on the absence of it.
Okay. How does that play out?
Well, for instance, you might say aloud, I want more money. It sounds positive, right? But if your underlying feeling, your dominant vibration, is fear or discomfort or frustration about your current finances, you are effectively focusing on not enough money. The law of attraction responds to that dominant feeling, that vibration, not just the words you're speaking. It's like an amplifier. Whatever vibrational signal you're emitting, wanted or unwanted, it gets magnified and brought into your experience. That discomfort you feel when you say, I can't afford it, or the frustration about a health issue, that's a clear, unmistakable indicator. Your thoughts are pointed toward the lack side of the subject.
Okay, so if we're stuck focusing on the lack side, which, let's be honest, is so easy to do when you're facing a challenge, how do we actually shift our attention? How do we shift our vibration to the wanted side? This sounds like a real challenge if we're already in a tough spot or maybe deeply ingrained in a negative pattern of thinking. How do we effectively break that cycle and genuinely change our point of attraction?
Right, and that's where the pivoting process becomes an incredibly powerful and, importantly, practical tool. It's a conscious recognition, first, that every subject is indeed two subjects, and then it's a deliberate speaking or thinking about the desired aspect. So, for example, when you feel any negative emotion, frustration, worry, anger, disappointment, you stop and you consciously ask yourself, okay, I know what I don't want. What is it that I do want? In that very moment of turning your attention, the negative attraction stops. Just like that. And positive attraction begins. It's often a palpable shift, a feeling of relief.
A feeling of relief,
Yeah.
even if the situation hasn't changed yet.
Especially then. This isn't about trying to convince yourself that an unwanted thing is suddenly wanted. That feels fake, right? It creates more resistance. Instead, it's about deliberately choosing a better feeling thought, even if it's just slightly better. The authors offer this wonderful analogy here that really clarifies this gradual process. Think about pulling a very large, heavy rope across, say, a river. You don't try to heave the whole thing at once, right? That's impossible. Instead, you first toss a small ball of twine across the water. Easy. Then you splash on slightly larger ropes, then even larger ropes, until the main rope can be pulled effortlessly. You gradually shift your vibrational frequency by consistently choosing thoughts that bring you just a little bit of relief, building momentum towards what you truly want.
I love that analogy of the ropes. It makes the whole process feel so much more attainable, less daunting. Like tiny shifts are actually really powerful. And speaking of practical tools for shifting, the book introduces something called the Book of Positive Aspects. How does that fit into this idea of deliberately shifting our focus and vibration, especially when we're faced with persistent, frustrating challenges, like that hotel example?
Right. The Book of Positive Aspects is a perfect, tangible application of the pivoting principle. It's a systematic way to consciously train your thoughts and therefore your vibrational point of attraction. And yes, the anecdote about Esther Hicks and that hotel in Austin is compelling. She experienced consistent, maddening issues, confirmed bookings, repeated calls, yet the staff always seemed unprepared, immense frustration. So to pivot, Esther decided to create a book of positive aspects specifically for that hotel. She diligently listed everything she did appreciate about it. Its beautiful architecture, its consistent cleanliness, the convenient location, maybe specific friendly staff members she had encountered. Now, importantly, she emphasized she didn't write things like, they're always ready and waiting for us, if that wasn't her current experience. That would just evoke contradiction and resistance. Instead, she focused purely on what did feel good and true, cultivating a positive vibration about the hotel itself, and the result. Once her own vibration shifted, the hotel never forgot their arrangements again.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
It is. And it isn't about ignoring reality or pretending problems don't exist. It's about consciously choosing where to place your attention to change your dominant vibration and, in turn, your point of attraction. It profoundly illustrates how your dominant thought consistently applied, can literally influence outcomes.
So it's about actively training your thoughts and emotions, isn't it? Rather than just passively observing what is and letting circumstances dictate how you feel. It sounds like a discipline, really, but one that Jerry himself adopted. He learned to write about positive aspects of his own life, not just things that needed fixing. It's about getting into the rhythm, the habit of good-feeling thoughts, making it a conscious, maybe even daily practice.
Precisely. It's truly a more joyful and powerful way to live because it helps you get into that vibrational state of allowing, a state where you are open to the natural flow of well-being that is inherent in the universe. When you consistently practice this kind of deliberate focus, it really reorients your entire life experience. The more you consciously choose to tell a better feeling story about your life, the more your life begins to literally transform to match the essence of that new story. It's an internal process, an energetic shift that inevitably manifests externally in tangible ways. It's about taking the reins of your own creative power.
Okay, let's pivot, appropriately enough, to money. For many people, money is an enormous focus, often a source of significant stress or maybe intense desire. The book points out that money and freedom are synonymous. What does that mean in the context of the law of attraction? And why does money evoke such incredibly strong feelings, for better or worse, in people's lives?
Yeah, money definitely pushes buttons. For most people, there's an intense awareness right at their core of their right to be free, to have choices, to live unencumbered. And money is almost universally perceived as the primary means to that freedom of choice, freedom of movement, freedom from worry. This is precisely why money can evoke such strong feelings, from deep desire to profound fear. It touches upon that fundamental human yearning for autonomy and security. The authors state there's an absolute and unwavering correlation between your thoughts about money, how you feel when you think those thoughts, and the actual money that flows into your experience. So if you're thinking about money and feeling fear or disappointment, inadequacy, resentment, you are actively focusing on the absence of money, which vibrationally holds it away. The key, therefore, is to achieve vibrational balance in your thoughts about money, moving from feelings of lack and anxiety to feelings of abundance and ease.
It's so common, though, isn't it, to hear people say they want more money, but then immediately follow it up by complaining. Complaining about prices, or how unfair the economy is, or how impossibly hard it is to earn. The book talks about lackful action. What exactly does that entail, and how can even intense hard work actually be counterproductive if it's coming from a place of lack? That really goes against so much conventional wisdom.
It absolutely does, and it's a critical distinction. Any action taken from a place of like desperately working harder because you need money to survive, or striving to fill a void of insufficiency, or taking a job you hate just for the paycheck, it's fundamentally counterproductive, vibrationally. The authors share Jerry's keen observation of very wealthy individuals who, despite their material riches, were still profoundly discontent, still constantly seeking more money, or perpetually plagued by business problems.
So the money itself didn't fix the underlying feeling.
Exactly. It powerfully illustrated that material wealth alone isn't the path to happiness or true abundance. Similarly, he noticed that those who needed money the most, who were in the deepest financial distress, ironically had the least success with financial teachings or opportunities. Why? Because their deep, persistent feeling of need, that profound sense of lack, it outweighed any action they offered. The feeling of void cannot be truly filled by things or satisfied by action. It's about the vibrational discord between your desire for abundance and your chronic thought patterns of scarcity. You truly cannot achieve a happy ending from an unhappy journey, no matter how much strenuous action you take.
Wow. So the feeling of lack actually prevents the very thing you're trying to achieve, even if you're working diligently for it. This raises an interesting point from the book about people who were taught, maybe growing up, that wanting money was evil or somehow unspiritual, or people who criticize the wealthy. How do these deeply ingrained societal or personal beliefs affect one's ability to attract abundance, even when they consciously say they want more money?
Oh, it's a massive barrier, a huge one. If you hold a belief that there's something inherently wrong or dirty with having money, or if you feel anger, jealousy, or resentment towards those who have more, you are creating a profound vibrational imbalance within yourself, period. Similarly, a belief in a finite pile of abundance You know, the idea that one person's gain must automatically be another's loss that also holds you apart from your own potential abundance. The text is very clear on this. When you find yourself critical of the way anyone has attracted or is using money, you're pushing money away from yourself. Your emotional guidance system will immediately indicate this misalignment through feelings of maybe inadequacy, insecurity, or jealousy. The universe consistently responds to your dominant vibration. So if you're emitting a signal that money is bad or I resent wealth, the law of attraction simply won't bring it to you. It's like having your, I don't know, your repellent on full blast while asking for a hug. It just doesn't work.
Okay, repellent off. So how do we actively shift our vibrational balance regarding money, especially when we're maybe surrounded by reminders of what we don't have, or when we feel that familiar pang of, I can't afford it? The book suggests a powerful and very practical exercise, vibrationally spending vibrational money. How does this simple exercise work to change our internal state and therefore our point of attraction?
This is a brilliant and really accessible technique. I love this one. The process involves carrying, say, a real $100 bill or any chosen amount that feels significant but not, overwhelmingly stressful, and consciously noticing all the things you could purchase with it throughout your day. Now, it's crucial to understand this isn't about actually spending the money. It's purely about activating the feeling of prosperity, allowing yourself to feel abundant now. So when you see something you like, instead of the familiar, often automatic, I can't afford that, you consciously think, I could buy that if I wanted to. I have the means for that right here. The feeling of disappointment or lack that arises when you say, I can't afford it, is a clear indicator your thoughts are pointed toward shortage. The goal of this exercise is to shift that feeling. Shift it to one of pleasure, possibility, and comfort. To foster a feeling of, I have enough, or I am abundant enough for this experience. That immediate shift in feeling from shortage to ease, that's the first and most powerful evidence of your vibrational alignment. You're changing your emotional relationship with money right there.
Jerry's personal story about buying a Cadillac is a fantastic example of this brooding thoughts concept in action, isn't it? He genuinely wanted the car, but he felt criticized, or maybe self-critical, for wanting it because he himself used to criticize wealthy people. He found a creative way to bridge his thoughts and align with his desire. It really demonstrates how internal justification can be a powerful tool for vibrational alignment.
It's a perfect illustration, yeah. Jerry desired that Cadillac, but he faced significant internal resistance. That conflict came from his deeply ingrained past criticisms of wealthy individuals and their perceived excesses. This created a vibrational conflict within him wanting it, but feeling bad about wanting it. So to release that resistance, he didn't try to deny his desire. Instead, he consciously justified it. He found a thought that felt better. He thought, by buying this car, I'm putting all these people to work who designed and built it. I'm stimulating the economy, creating jobs. This bridging thought allowed him to release the resistance, that feeling of being criticized or being a hypocrite, and just align with his desire for the car. It demonstrates that you don't have to physically have money to attract more money, but you absolutely cannot feel poor and attract abundance. You have to find ways, any way you can, to improve how you feel right where you stand. His bridging thought softened the negative self-association and allowed the desired experience to manifest because he was no longer pushing it away with conflicting vibrations.
That's so key, finding a thought that feels better. Not necessarily a perfect thought, just better. And what about broader, often overwhelming concerns like inflation, economic recession, or money losing its value? Many people feel these are entirely outside their personal control, right? And that leads to widespread worry and insecurity. How do the law of attraction principles advise us to navigate such seemingly external macro-financial pressures and not get swept away by them?
Right, and this is where the core principle of personal vibrational control becomes profoundly liberating. The authors emphasize that your belief and your focus are infinitely more important than the assigned value of money or any external economic conditions. Worrying about inflation or a depression means your attention is squarely on lack and unwanted outcomes. And as we know, what you focus on, you attract more of. The key is to consciously shift your attention to what you do want in terms of being, having, doing, and trust that the means will flow effortlessly. The discomfort you feel from thinking about financial insecurity, that's your emotional guidance system shouting very clearly, you are attracting what you don't want. So instead of trying to control external factors like the dollar's value, which are often beyond your immediate reach, focus your mind on the feeling of desired security and prosperity. and then take any inspired action that arises from that place of good feeling. You are the only one who can control your point of attraction. External conditions just reflect collective vibrational patterns.
Jerry also brought up how people often hit rock bottom before things truly turn around financially or in other areas of their lives. Why do so many have to go all the way down to that lowest point before they finally start back up? It seems like such a common, almost archetypal narrative in human experience.
It's a very common pattern, absolutely. And the reason for a downward spiral is consistently attention to lack, attention to the unwanted. When people feel guarded, defensive, when they justify their struggles, rationalize their shortcomings, or constantly blame external circumstances or others, they're firmly planted on the lack side of the vibrational equation. They keep attracting more of what they don't want, manifesting more loss and struggle. Once they hit rock bottom, however, they often lose that guardedness, that defensiveness, because there's quite literally nothing left to lose, right?
Right. Nowhere to go but up, kind of?
Yeah, exactly. This extreme contrast often forces their attention to shift. When you're at the absolute bottom, the only place left to look is up. This forces a natural pivot, prompting them to look up and begin, maybe tentatively at first, to tell a different story about their possibilities. And that allows the flow of abundance to resume. It's a natural, albeit often painful, vibrational pivot forced by extreme contrast. The good news is you absolutely do not have to hit rock bottom to initiate that conscious shift. You can pivot at any time, just by choosing a better feeling thought.
The phrase, "a war against war is war," beautifully illustrates this point, doesn't it? Pushing against unwanted things. It highlights that our resistance, even with the best intentions, only perpetuates the very conditions we're trying to escape.
Yes, it's a profound and very applicable metaphor. Pushing against unwanted things, whether it's war, poverty, illness, or even just a difficult colleague, it causes them to increase or persist vibrationally. Your attention to the lack of what is wanted, or your intense focus on the unwanted, causes it to amplify and come closer into your experience. The fundamental advice here is to relax. Relax into your natural state of well-being and trust the laws of the universe. When you stop fighting against what you don't want, you create space for financial ease and all other forms of well-being to flow naturally. And remember, criticizing others for how they attract or use money also reinforces your focus on lack and therefore pushes money away from you. The universe doesn't distinguish between wanted and unwanted. It simply amplifies whatever you give your dominant attention and vibration to.
Okay, so this is a truly radical departure from conventional thought then. If talent, skill, or even hard work aren't the primary factors for financial success, then what is? This completely goes against so much of what we're taught about achievement, education, specific abilities.
It's one of the most paradigm-shifting insights in the book, I think. The authors explicitly state that talent, skill, or ability have very little bearing on attracting abundance. These are mostly action-oriented aspects, and from a vibrational perspective, action is actually a minuscule part of what comes to you. The primary reason your life unfolds as it does, including your financial reality, is your thoughts and your words, and crucially, the feelings that accompany them. So the most valuable skill you can cultivate, according to these teachings, is the deliberate directing of your thoughts toward what you want, quickly evaluating situations through your emotional guidance system, and giving your undivided attention to your desires. They suggest you could have no conventionally saleable skill and still receive all the financial abundance you want, unless, of course, you defeat yourself with negative self-comparison, thinking you're unworthy because you lack a specific talent. Financial success doesn't require hard work and struggle. It requires alignment of thought and the allowing of abundance.
Wow. This whole section really drives home the idea that you cannot find a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It's a profound statement about the process of manifestation and, well, the futility of struggling towards a desired outcome while feeling miserable the whole way.
Exactly. This is foundational truth here. The anecdote about the ex-husband inheriting $1 million while his hardworking ex-wife struggled perfectly illustrates this. The ex-husband felt ease, apparently. He refused to feel guilty about his good fortune, and he simply expected things to come easily to him. That was his vibe. His ex-wife, on the other hand, worked incredibly hard, but consistently focused on lack, on the struggle, and on resentment toward his apparent ease. The universe, as it always does, matched their respective dominant feelings and vibrations precisely. Hard work and struggle are not consistent with the natural laws of the universe or your inherent well-being. Vibrational alignment of thought is. Your current thoughts and feelings are not just reflecting your present experience, they are actively creating your future experience. So if your journey, your current vibrational state is unhappy, your destination will inevitably reflect that unless you deliberately and consistently shift your vibrational pattern.
So the way we feel about money, even down to the simple act of spending it, is absolutely paramount. The book mentions a woman who had saved a lot but was terrified to spend it. That highlights how that fear of depletion or shortage seems like a very common roadblock to abundance.
Oh, definitely. That fear of spending, that feeling of shortage, or the anxiety that arises when you consider a purchase. It's a powerful indicator that you are creating resistance. And that resistance slows the flow of more money to you. If your core belief is that your money comes only from your strenuous action, and maybe you doubt your ability to always provide that action, you'll naturally hoard it, driven by a deep-seated fear of lack. But the universe, the authors explain, offers eternal and infinite abundance. Much like the air we breathe, it flows in and out effortlessly if we simply allow it. That feeling of decline, of scarcity, is directly contrary to your broader understanding of eternal well-being and the true nature of abundance. The discomfort you feel when considering spending is a direct signal that your thoughts are not a vibrational match to your desire for unending abundance. The key is to transform that feeling of fear into hope, positive expectation, and a sense of generous flow.
Okay, let's shift focus from money to our physical experience. Beyond money, the book emphasizes that my thoughts create my physical experience. How direct and immediate is this connection, really? And what are the profound implications for our health, our vitality, and even things like body image?
The connection is absolute, remarkably direct, and consistently demonstrated in our experience if we pay attention. The authors state that your physical body responds faster to your thoughts and feelings than almost anything else in your experience, and there's this beautiful feedback loop. A good feeling body promotes more positive thoughts, right? And consistently positive thoughts, in turn, promote a good feeling body. Even if you're currently experiencing illness or physical discomfort, finding feelings of relief and deliberately focusing on well-being can lead to tangible physical improvement because your thoughts are always constantly creating your reality. Illness, or what they often call dis-ease, is always, without exception, caused by vibrational discord, a persistent resistance to your natural, inherent state of well-being.
The idea of complaining about complaining is also complaining is a powerful, almost recursive reminder, isn't it? It suggests that any form of complaint, no matter how seemingly small or justified, can perpetuate the very thing we're trying to avoid, even when it comes to our physical well-being.
Yes, it really highlights how pervasive resistance can be. It means that any form of complaint, whether it's about an aching joint, a chronic disease, or even just external circumstances like traffic or the weather, it disallows your physical well-being vibrationally. The authors make a very insightful point. Often, before people complain about their physical body, they were habitually complaining about other things first. Complaining is complaining, regardless of the subject, and it consistently maintains a vibration of resistance. So the solution, both for maintaining excellent health and for recovering from illness, is universally the same. Find reasons to feel good, find things to appreciate, consistently choose better feeling thoughts, because your physical body is an incredibly responsive mechanism, constantly mirroring your vibrational patterns.
The book discusses how illness, despite its difficulty, can actually be a powerful launching pad for asking for wellness. What does this mean exactly? How can a state of suffering paradoxically become a catalyst for profound healing and a return to well-being?
It's a crucial reframe, yeah. It means that when you're sick and feeling bad, you are never clearer, more singularly focused, or more passionate about wanting to be healthy and feel good. That contrast clarifies desire like nothing else. That intense desire for wellness is an incredibly powerful vibrational request to the universe. And this strong desire, when combined with a conscious shift in focus away from the unwanted illness and towards the desired wellness, can lead to remarkable recovery. The powerful example they share is of the author who recovered from what was deemed an incurable disease. Instead of dwelling on the symptoms or fighting the disease, he immersed himself in watching humorous TV programs, comedy shows.
Watching comedies.
Yeah. His profound desire for wellness was amplified by the contrast of his illness, and the humor distracted him from the constant attention to his physical discomfort. This distraction effectively stopped his vibrational resistance and allowed vibrational alignment with well-being to dominate. He wasn't ignoring the illness per se, he was distracting himself from the lack of well-being, allowing the inherent powerful tendency towards wellness, which is always there, to take over.
That's fascinating, a powerful shift in focus through distraction,
Right.
essentially. So what about traditional medicine then? Vaccines, doctors, faith healers, alternative therapies. Where do they fit into this framework if our thoughts are truly the primary creators of our physical reality? Do they have a significant role, or are they kind of secondary to our internal alignment?
That's a great question. The authors explain that the common thread among medical doctors, faith healers, even traditional healers who consistently achieve positive results, is their ability to stimulate belief and expectation in their patients. The illness itself naturally creates that strong, clear desire for wellness within the individual. Then, the practitioner, regardless of their specific method, provides a belief or an expectation, a vehicle for that desire to be met. And that is the crucial allowing factor. They suggest that when medicine and science ultimately pivot to focusing more on the vibrational causes of illness, rather than just on treating symptoms or cures, they will become exponentially more effective. They also offer a profound caution. Continually looking for something wrong with your body, constantly searching for diagnoses, or dwelling on potential ailments through that very attention can actually create or perpetuate the physical manifestation of what you fear.
So the focus on pathology can be problematic.
It can be, yeah. The medical system, by its very nature of problem solving, can inadvertently perpetuate illness through the law of attraction if the dominant focus remains on pathology rather than perfect well-being.
This directly touches on what Jerry mentioned about the media's role in epidemics, like the news surrounding flu shots and how public discourse can affect the spread of a virus. It implies a deeper collective connection between mass thought and physical manifestation.
Absolutely. The media, particularly television news, can be a significant and often overlooked source of negative influence on collective well-being. By constantly drawing your attention to potential illnesses, dire health warnings, and problems, it cultivates a pervasive atmosphere of worry and fear. This sustained collective attention, fueled by anxiety, creates the vibrational conditions for illness to manifest on a wider scale. The authors imply that your individual and collective state of mind is a far stronger factor in health outcomes than external threats or specific viruses themselves. The news about flu shots, for example, while intended to be helpful, can amplify the collective attention on illness, thereby potentially contributing to its perceived spread, simply because it reinforces the dominant vibrational focus on sickness rather than health. Your beliefs and the collective beliefs are incredibly potent.
And what about inherited illnesses or feeling the pain of others, particularly loved ones? It's incredibly natural to sympathize or worry deeply about family health issues. But how does the law of attraction explain these phenomena? Are we bound by our genetics or by others' suffering?
This is a nuanced but really crucial point. What often appears to be inherited tendencies or genetic predispositions is, from this perspective, often the law of attraction's response to learned thought patterns. Vibrational habits absorbed from parents or your immediate environment. Remember, your body's cells are incredibly responsive to your dominant thoughts right now. Similarly, when you feel another's pain, truly feel it. Deeply, it's not actually their pain you are feeling, it is your own pain, brought about by your personal choice to focus on an aspect of them that causes you to feel discomfort or pain. So the most valuable thing you can ever do to help another, including a loved one who is suffering, is to choose to focus on their desired wellness, on their potential for health. Sympathy, which focuses on their struggle and illness, is of no vibrational value. It can actually hold you in a lower vibration. Instead, by choosing to focus on their potential healing and well-being, you uplift yourself and, through your vibrational offering, offer them the highest leverage for their own healing. This is about taking radical control of your own emotional response and vibrational offering.
Okay, radical control. That leads to maybe the most provocative idea here. If all deaths are a form of suicide, as the book suggests, that sounds quite challenging, perhaps even harsh to some listeners. Can you elaborate on this idea without implying blame, but rather emphasizing personal vibrational control?
It is indeed one of the most provocative statements in the book, and it's absolutely crucial to understand it's not about blame or judgment, not at all. It's about emphasizing the ultimate and absolute sovereignty of your vibrational point of attraction in every aspect of your experience, including the transition we call physical death. The core teaching is that you are eternal beings, non-physical source energy focused into a physical body. And the decision to withdraw your focus from the physical body is ultimately yours, whether that withdrawal is a conscious, deliberate choice, or whether it occurs more gradually through a chronic, long-term diminished connection to source energy caused by persistent negative thoughts and vibrational resistance. It's about the body, perhaps, no longer being able to sustain itself without that full vibrational connection. The authors emphasize that after physical death, eternal beings don't vanish or suffer. They become whole and renewed, reintegrating into broader source energy. So all deaths are a form of suicide is really a radical affirmation of your ultimate control over your own vibrational alignment and therefore your physical presence or withdrawal from it. It underscores your eternal nature.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that nuance. It's important. The book also delves into weight management and body image, which are huge areas of struggle for so many people. How do these law of attraction principles apply there, especially when diets often fail
and self-perception can be so persistently negative.
It's entirely consistent with all other areas of attraction we've discussed. Your body responds directly and powerfully to the dominant image you hold of yourself and the feelings you associate with that image. If you constantly feel fat, think of yourself as overweight, or lament your body, you are emitting a fat vibration, essentially. And you simply cannot attract a slender, vibrant body from that place. Most diets fail not because of willpower or lack of effort, but because people are fundamentally focusing on their unwanted fat, on what they don't want, rather than clearly visualizing and, crucially, emotionally embodying their desired lean, healthy body. Your beliefs about food, too, like whether you gain weight easily or if certain foods boost energy, directly affect your physical reality because your body is listening to your dominant vibration, and the opinions of others about your body. They're insignificant, vibrationally speaking. Your own internal vibrational alignment is what truly matters. The key is to shift your attention from the lack of the desired body to the joyful expectation, visualization, and feeling of having it now. Feel the health, feel vitality.
The old and new story examples for physical well-being they provide are incredibly practical, offering such a clear contrast. The old story focuses on symptoms, decline, feeling burdened by inherited worries, essentially creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of deterioration. Right.
Exactly. And the new story offers such liberation. It shifts your focus entirely to recognizing the body's incredible responsiveness to your thoughts, to actively appreciating its myriad functions, even the small ones, and cultivating a confident expectation in its innate ability to improve and heal. It encourages you to acknowledge that even if certain aspects aren't currently perfect, the well-being of your body is dominant. That is, its natural default state. This deliberate focus changes your point of attraction. For instance, the new story would involve consciously appreciating your body's amazing capacity to heal a cut, maybe the stamina it provides for a walk, the clarity of your senses, rather than dwelling on a perceived ache or flaw. It's about consistently telling a story that matches your desired reality, even if the current physical evidence seems to contradict it, because your story is creating that future evidence.
Okay, let's turn to career now. Another area where people often feel a great deal of pressure or dissatisfaction. The book suggests a really powerful reframe. Make a career of living a happy life. That sounds very different from how many of us typically view work, which is often seen as, a necessary means to an end, a grind we endure for a paycheck.
It's a radical but profoundly effective reframe. Absolutely. Most people, unfortunately, put earning money squarely in the have-to-do category, a chore, a burden. And this is precisely why money often comes hard, requires immense effort, and often manifests in insufficient amounts. The vibration is off. The authors encourage you to decide with absolute clarity that your dominant intent in life is simply to live happily ever after, to seek joy. This means deliberately embracing activities, pursuits, and desires that deeply align with your core intentions of freedom, growth, and joy. It's about finding work that genuinely makes you happy and inspired, rather than working just to make enough money later so that then you can finally be happy. When joy, satisfaction, and inspiration are your dominant quest, you naturally align with your source energy. And that alignment allows opportunities, growth, and abundance to flow effortlessly, thereby making your career a consistent source of pleasure and fulfillment.
So it's really about aligning with your inner guidance, your own sense of joy and inspiration, rather than trying to please others or justify your career choices to societal expectations. It seems like a radical departure from conventional norms of seeking external validation for our work, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The book emphasizes that attempting to justify your behavior, your choices, or your ideas to others is almost never a good idea. Why? Because it pulls you further out of alignment with who you really are and what you genuinely desire. You start tailoring your vibration to please them, not yourself. Your true value to others and your ability to uplift them hinges only on your personal alignment with source energy. They make a very poignant point. You cannot get poor enough to help poor people thrive or sick enough to help sick people get well. Makes sense, right? You can only uplift and inspire others from your own position of strength, clarity, and well-being. When you are in vibrational alignment, you don't feel the need to justify yourself. You exude confidence and joy. And others are far more likely to be inspired by your example, by the actual manifestation of your aligned life.
Jerry shared his own career story in the preface of the book, detailing his journey from feeling like he was leaving no tracks in his entertainment career to consciously making decisions about wanting freedom, no employees, and uplifting others. How did this personal shift powerfully exemplify the principles of deliberate creation in action?
It's a perfect real-world case study. Absolutely. Jerry felt a profound dissatisfaction in his early entertainment career, a sense that he wasn't leaving anything of permanent value. This contrast, this dissatisfaction, served as a powerful launching pad for clearer desire. He consciously made decisions and then meticulously wrote down specific intentions for his ideal career. Self-employment, no fixed place of business, no employees, complete mobility, and the core purpose of uplifting others. Very specific. His clear desire, combined with the powerful act of writing down his intentions, caused an emphasizing of his belief. It solidified his vibrational offering. And the result? An opportunity aligned perfectly, down to the very last detail, with everything he had written down. This led to the establishment of a multi-million-dollar international enterprise that fulfilled the essence of all his desires. The book states, and Jerry's story confirms, if this life experience has inspired the desire within you, this life experience has the wherewithal to fulfill it down to the very last detail. The universe provides.
So if someone is currently unhappy in their job, the advice isn't necessarily quit immediately, find something new. It's much more nuanced than that, focusing on those internal shifts first.
That's right. The fastest, most effective way to an improved work environment, whether that means your current job improving or a new, better one appearing, is somewhat counterintuitively to look for things in your current environment that make you feel good, anything at all. Most people do the exact opposite, don't they? They spend their time pointing out the flaws, criticizing colleagues, dwelling on the aspects they dislike, all to justify wanting a new job. But the law of attraction gives you more of what you focus on. So if you leave a situation focused on all the unwanted things you're escaping, you will inevitably find the essence of those very same unwanted things manifesting in your next environment. Different circumstances, same feeling. This is why the instruction, time to tell a new story, is so fundamentally important for career as well. You have to change your vibrational point of attraction before a truly different, more joyful experience can manifest.
And this idea of time at work is perceptual also plays into that feeling of being overwhelmed, having too much to do, which is so common in the modern workplace. It suggests that our experience of time isn't as fixed as we might think.
It's a profound insight, yeah. Many people feel a constant shortage of time, perpetually overwhelmed because they're trying to get too much leverage out of action instead of alignment. They think if they just work harder, faster, longer, they'll somehow get it all done. But when you truly care about how you feel and you consciously tend to your vibrational balance first, you begin to experience what they call a cooperative universe. Doors open effortlessly. Brilliant ideas flow to you without struggle. Circumstances unfold in your favor, all with far less physical effort. That feeling of shortage, whether of time or money, is ultimately a shortage of connection to the energy that creates worlds. Your perception of time and the results you allow into your experience are directly affected by your vibrational alignment. When you're consistently aligned, things feel easier, flow more readily, and time itself often feels more abundant and expansive.
This deep dive has offered so many practical tools and really illuminating insights. Let's revisit some of the more nuanced ways we can apply these principles, especially when faced with what seem like extreme intractable situations. The what-if game, for example, for extreme situations, that's quite intriguing.
It's an incredibly powerful and hopeful tool for when you feel trapped in genuinely dire circumstances, really tough spots. The authors use extreme examples like someone losing their job with a family to support, or even facing something as terrifying as the Gestapo, to illustrate that even in the most challenging situations, you retain the power to shift your vibrational focus. Always. Instead of obsessing over the present unwanted reality, you deliberately ask, what if? And then you begin to imagine things you do want to see, things that bring you even the slightest feeling of relief or hope. What if I discover a hidden talent? What if an unexpected opportunity arises? What if help appears from somewhere unexpected? This allows you to plant seeds of positive expectation even when direct action seems impossible or pointless. It helps to avoid spiraling into hopelessness because, as they say, the universe is positively and negatively balanced, and you always choose your focus. It's about finding any small thought that brings even a fraction of relief, rather than trying to jump directly to bliss, which would feel completely inauthentic from a place of despair.
That makes the what-if game feel so much more accessible, especially when facing deep negative emotions. It's not about pretending. It's about finding a slightly better feeling. This leads us perfectly to the idea of an emotional scale, or how to follow your bliss, when you can't even get a whiff of bliss, as they put it. It provides a practical step-by-step approach to emotional upliftment, which is so valuable when you're really down.
It's perhaps one of the most compassionate and practical tools in the book for navigating difficult emotions. Truly. The authors provide a detailed progression for when you're in a very low place emotionally and you just can't feel good. It's okay. If you're in despair, for example, trying to jump straight to joy is impossible and counterproductive. It would only create more resistance. Instead, they say, follow your revenge. Yes, revenge. It sounds startling, but vibrationally. It's downstream, a slight improvement in feeling from utter powerlessness or despair. Revenge at least implies some sense of agency, some power back. From revenge, you can move perhaps to hatred, then anger, then blame, frustration, overwhelm, disappointment, doubt, worry, then maybe pessimism, boredom, contentment, hopefulness, positive expectation, belief, knowing, joy, appreciation. This guidance ensures you're always moving in a better feeling direction, even if it's just a subtle shift from a really negative emotion to a slightly less negative one. The goal is continuous, gentle movement towards relief, rather than try and make a huge, inauthentic jump that creates more internal conflict.
And a distinction that really stood out, which many of us probably use interchangeably, is between gratitude and appreciation. The book draws a clear vibrational difference between them.
This is a subtle but profound distinction for those wanting to really fine-tune their vibration. When you feel gratitude, you are often still looking back, in a way, looking at the struggle you've overcome or the challenge you've pushed through to receive something good. There's often still some struggle vibration present, a lingering awareness of what was difficult or lacking before. Appreciation, however, is described as pure connection to source energy, that tuned in, tapped in, turned on feeling. It's seeing through the eyes of source where there is no perception of lack, no memory of struggle, just pure, expansive well-being. It's the complete absence of resistance, doubt, fear, and self-denial. Appreciation is the ultimate state of alignment, embodying everything that feels good and is flowing effortlessly. It's a higher vibrational frequency than gratitude, generally speaking, because it carries no past negative associations, just pure connection.
Pure connection. That's a lovely way to put it. Finally, let's talk about the profound importance of sleep and morning routines for vibrational alignment. It sounds like these seemingly simple daily practices have a truly profound impact on setting our energetic tone for manifestation throughout the entire day.
They are absolutely crucial and often overlooked. Seriously important. Sleep is described as a time when your inner being can effortlessly realign your energies and conscious attraction largely starts. You get a break. Your vibration, however, is where you last left it when you drifted off. So if you go to sleep worrying, feeling anxious, or dwelling on problems, you'll likely pick up on that negative flooding immediately upon waking. Sound familiar?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Right. So the powerful recommendation is to consciously identify positive aspects or things you appreciate before you go to sleep, even just one or two things. Knowing that during slumber, you detach and refresh. Upon waking, before you even fully open your eyes, immediately look for reasons to feel good. Think of things you appreciate. Set an intention for how you want to feel. This sets a positive vibrational set point for the entire day. This is quite literally how you get out of bed on the right foot, making deliberate control of your thoughts throughout the day much easier. It allows the law of attraction to bring you more good-feeling experiences and manifestations right from the start. It's about setting an energetic tone from the very first moments of your day.
What an incredible deep dive into the profound power you hold to shape your reality through your thoughts and feelings and vibrational offerings. We've truly unpacked how the law of attraction, as explained by Abraham Hicks, applies to every single facet of your life. From manifesting wealth and abundance maybe beyond your current imagination, to cultivating vibrant physical health and finding a career that is a constant source of pleasure and joy.
It all really comes down to understanding at a fundamental level that you are the attractor of your every experience. You're the magnet. By deliberately choosing your thoughts, consistently moving towards better feeling emotions, using tools like pivoting in that emotional scale, and consciously telling a new story about your life, you align yourself with the powerful energy that creates worlds. Your emotions are truly your most accurate guide, always letting you know your precise vibrational point of attraction. Always. It's truly a pathway to eternal, unfolding satisfaction and profound joy.
And here's where it gets really interesting for you, our listener. If you've heard something today that resonated deeply, something that made you feel a sense of clarity, or maybe just a simple thought that made you think, yeah, this feels right, that's your emotional guidance system indicating perfect alignment right there. That's your powerful call to action, your cue to begin applying these principles, to step into your power as a deliberate creator.
So what does this all mean for you right now? Consider this provocative thought to carry with you today. If your natural inherent state is one of absolute well-being and abundance, and any less than that is simply a result of your own vibrational resistance, what would your life look like? What would you truly allow into your experience if you committed right now to finding a good feeling thought or even just a better feeling thought in every single moment you can, no matter what. What doors might open? What effortless solutions might appear? What would you allow them?
Thank you so much for joining us on this empowering deep dive. We hope you feel utterly inspired and eager to apply these transformative insights in your own life starting today. Until next time, keep exploring, keep aligning, and keep deliberately creating the magnificent life you desire.